So I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattblood. Are you here, Rattblood? So I wake up this morning and I see a message, and it's Access Rattblood. Are you here, Rattblood?
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood, I see. All these Access people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that now. I don't know what to do.
And then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access, and then you got people like Access.
Are you here, Rattblood?
I'm Access fucking Rattblood.
Access Rattblood. Most abundant and successful King Hero. that we are all sitting at this very moment? Are you willing to accept that as a truth? That you are a worthy man and that your penis is okay?
All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that. All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that.
Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood? I'll just start throwing spells at you, conjuring demons and otherwise. Are you here, Rattblood?
Who the fuck is Axis Rattblood?
I'm Axis fucking Rattblood, bitch.
All these Axis people, I'm starting to get paranoid about that, man. I don't know what to do about it.
I'm Axis fucking Rattblood.
are produced. Even in death, the human body still remains active. Even in death, the human body still remains active. New cells are produced. And the brain itself holds a small electrical charge that takes months to dissipate. New cells are produced, and the brain itself holds a small electrical charge that takes months to dissipate. This provides a massive jolt both to cellular growth and to those trace electrical impulses. Quite simply, it reanimates the body. It's a massive jolt, but quite simply, it reanimates the body. It's a massive jolt, but quite simply, it reanimates the body.
Hey, Max.
Hey, Arxis,
Oh.
how you doing?
Oh, hanging in there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna I'm on a newer device, the one I regularly use is I left it uncharged naturally, so never fails. But that's all right. How you doing, Max?
Doing good, doing good.
I've been battling with these heavy energy fluctuations. From the only thing I can contribute it to is this new conjunction that's coming in and the eclipse and the comet, because I've been all over the place.
They're constantly bringing out new technologies too and adding to the system, so it's a constant barrage that's building.
Yeah, I figured they're going to use, they will use this eclipse because of all the hype that they put behind it, to break something out or to do something, one or the other. But I do feel I've been keeping an eye on the heavens, and there's a lot of shit going on up there.
Yeah. The predominant theory now is that they're going to use it as a practice for martial law.
Really?
Yeah. Well, the National Guard apparently has been preparing for this for 2 years, and people have spoken out in the National Guard after hearing these briefings.
I was wondering,
why are we doing this?
I was wondering about that because I know they're breaking them out in Texas. I know they're breaking them out in Arkansas and parts of Illinois, and I know here in Indiana, they just announced the other day they're going to have National Guard on standby, which naturally all the doomsdayers and the Southern Baptists immediately,
Well, you think about it too. It's a great way to cover for the deployment of something, right?
That's what, yeah.
If people think something's going to happen, might as well use it, right?
Isn't that what they told us?
Mm-hmm.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
That's right. And if all you have to do is tell people there's an eclipse and they go nuts on, oh my God, it's going to be something's happening with the energy and we're doomed and all this, they'll fly with it for sure. They may have even fabricated it.
Well, we are due for the eclipse. That I do know. By time cycle.
I mean the energy hype, because they do work in the spiritual community as well.
Oh yeah.
They're deep into the spiritual community, deep psyops into us as well. So
Well, was it Swan one of the first ones that told him that he thought he was seen by the entities that he was observing?
I can't remember. I don't know. I haven't done that much study into the Swan.
Not that I've studied him much. It's just that he seems to be the poster boy for the CIA's remote viewing research.
Yeah, they harassed him after. I think he got kicked out of the program. They say. I don't know if he did or not. Hard to say. All these people are so embedded in actors and playing their part.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that.
Very hard to tell who's legitimate, if there are any legitimate people out there that they haven't owned at this point.
That's another one I have to question. It's bad enough that I have to deal with the concept of being a creation. That alone is hard enough to deal with, and to figure out exactly what my design was for. We were created for something if we were created. And I don't think we just, I don't buy the Big Bang Theory, because to me that is order coming out of chaos.
Yeah, I'm not a chaos. People hate some people hate it when I say this. I don't believe in chaos. Because there
Right.
really is no such thing.
Well, how about decoherent vibrations and energies?
Well, eventually, when they go on for long enough, there will be a pattern that emerges.
So you think what's your take on us being created, or what's your take on that? I've never really heard that from much anybody. They all bitch about being here. Most of them trying to figure out how to get the hell out of here, and I just come to the terms with, hold on, something created me. Oh, I got to take a whole new step back.
Well, I think we have purpose. I don't know. I really don't know. That's there are the unknowables in life. You can have an opinion, but
Yeah, that's all I figured was, maybe you had some perspective on it that maybe I hadn't taken into consideration.
I do believe that life has the purpose of growth and betterment of the spirit or the body or whatever whatever you want to call it, the soul or spirit. That seems to be pretty prevalent. That seems to be what most life forms would do, is the betterment of themselves. So that's a natural law there.
Yeah, that's kind of built into the construct, is the way I kind of see it.
Yeah.
Built into the constant.
Yeah, well, having progeny, wanting them to do better than you did, it's always the way, and that's progress, and then there's progress on the personal level, progress on the cultural level, progress on the planetary and even, universal level, I think because it's all connected. So as we progress, the universe and God himself or itself or whatever progresses as well. I think it's a learning, growing process.
I been at odds with that here recently, just because of some new observations and information that has become very abundantly clear to me, that the painstakingly obvious hit me. I guess is while I was riding towards the forest to hit that tree.
Yeah. There were some interesting images brought out of the universe, like the image of the universe, and it looked very much like a torus field. It had a larger section coming out the bottom and a smaller section coming out at the top in almost exactly the ratio of 1 to 1.6, which is part of torus field mathematics.
Right, vortex mathematics. See, I understand, that the construct, the constant of this place is built off of, geometry, mathematics, and even hyper mathematics, if you can understand quantum mathematics. So you can't escape the mathematics. And that's just the damned of it, because I apply that to kind of like machine language until you start getting into superposition, which only gives you,
the mathematics is only a measure that we use. God doesn't need mathematics. It goes in natural form, right? Following the natural laws that he set that are set forth.
Well, if there wasn't sacred geometry, golden section, and divine proportion, and damn near everything he created, and you could find a fractal nature within everything that's created within itself,
yep,
inward and outward, then regardless of whether he uses a comprehensible math that we can generalize, or he's using mathematics that's beyond the
Yeah,
scope
you can break it
of
down as math for sure. Yeah.
That's the way I see it is, and it's to me that is machine language. That's how to me that's how computers operate. That's how computers think. And then I come to the
we would have to mimic nature in some way.
oh yeah, by design or proportions.
Well, like even in our computer systems, they somewhat mimic nature as well. They, the processes of the human mind are kind of mimicked in the parts and configuration of a computer.
Yeah, I went over that in a couple of live streams back. We went over how we are basically biological computers. I mean, there's really not much difference other than the fact that we have a little bit of mobility.
We also have a spirit or a soul or whatever.
And us being, we like having all these infinite possibilities, but being only able to make one of two choices. To me, that's still falling in a kind of a computer language model.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you think that the consciousness can make the jump from the physical body to a computer system?
Really been contemplating that lately, Max. I really have.
That would be the key. That would be the crux to your, your idea there.
They are using, and you can find the research on this, and they're pretty open with it. They were using what was it, fungus? Yeah, it was fungus to transfer information on a motherboard.
Yeah, they can use bacteria.
Yeah. And to me, that was kind of the beginning crossover stage. I'm not sure anymore exactly. Though we consider ourselves real and conscious, I'm not sure how far that actually extends. Only because of the limited fact that we can only make one or two choices. Even a computer, a quantum computer that has superpositioning.
Well, we have infinite choices, really.
Yeah, but we can only make one or two. What is it? Decisions then? It's either yes, no, sit, stand, up, down. Left or right. You can't do yes and no at the same time when approaching.
Maybe we have maybe.
It's still not a choice. That's the hesitation before the choice. You think maybe it's a choice? I don't see maybe it's a choice. I see that
as Russ says, you can also choose not to decide, and that's a choice too. So there's a third option.
And then you walk away, and there's no timeline that's developed from that. So I'm looking at the many worlds theories too here recently, Max. I've been looking at that really hard because they're amping their game up. The LHC has come out with their propaganda. What they're planning on doing? They're going to blow that thing up, get it running on the 8th. And I thought, well, how convenient. Day of the eclipse, Sun's going to finally be on.
What were we talking about? Them starting up some new technology? They always add. They're putting a lot of power into it this time. Really going to put a lot of power.
Yeah, and I think it's 2 atoms in it that they're going to try and smash together.
I don't know. I haven't looked, but I know they're putting in the most power they've ever put into it. So.
Yeah, instead of it being like photons or minor elemental particles, they're actually I believe this time I'm going to try and smash 2 atoms.
Yeah, they usually use protons.
Yeah, or maybe it's 2 protons. I seen it, and I just
That's what
immediately,
they
as soon as
say. That's what they
yeah.
say.
Well, when I seen it, I immediately thought propaganda because they put April 8th, and I was like, okay, you know, suddenly you're going to kick your research in on April 8th, like that's a coincidence. I don't think so.
No,
And
it's all a play.
right. And I get that, and I understand that they're going to utilize every aspect of this, especially where we're at now in world affairs. But you know, for like me, I can actually, when the moon reaches its fullness, I can feel a change. You know, I'm affected by energies, and
Yeah.
you know that's
for me though.
given.
I have to say this. For me, quantum physics is a lot of distraction. I think it's a lot of hoax. There are kernels of truth in it, but most of it, I think, is meant to confuse and keep people off track. That's why all the funding. That's why all the funding goes there.
Right, kind of like NASA and.
Yep. They don't put money into things that work. They want bridges. They want bridges to nowhere. So they'll never get any answers out of the research they're doing, and it's designed to be that way.
I use quantum physics where I used to use it a lot, and I used to really dive into research.
I did as well.
Now I look at it as a baseline for a philosophy, almost. It's a neat way to look at things, to discover what their possibilities to be are. But as far as you know, their model of it is not.
No, it's meant to be wrong. It's meant to be wrong so that they can't ever really answer any questions.
Yeah, because I can't fully buy into it, but it does serve the purpose to understand binary, and binary and fractal nature of proportion. It does help for people to understand quantum entanglement, which is kind of almost a spiritual entanglement, you know, or even remote viewing is a type of entanglement. So those are reference points for kind of an observation.
It's like NASA too. They throw you some bones every once in a while, but they throw you some real stuff. But most of the time, it's hokum bullshit. But
I don't expect anything out of NASA.
It's the same everywhere. It's the same all across the board, and it's just the same everywhere. That's the same thing with science, history, everything. It's all bullshit with a small smattering of some truth in there to keep you on board.
Yeah, well, that's what I kind of come to the conclusion of is when they started going into the details and they started putting all the hocus pocus in the numbers and the variables of outcomes. That's when I was like, okay, now they're playing with us.
Yeah, I love the equations that contain infinity in them. Okay, so your equation means absolutely nothing once you put it in. Once you put that in there,
right?
And they're in almost every equation they use. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why I was killing me to find out the interface they were using with quantum computers. They said they had quantum computers, which fascinated the hell out of me because I thought, how do you communicate with something that is taking every possibility that is conceivable and beyond human conception and ask it for a direct answer? How would you interface with something like that? That'd be like standing out in a field in the middle of Earth and screaming up to the sky, I want a pizza.
Yeah.
and suddenly a pizza appears. That's basically what they're saying with that.
Yeah, I guess once you get down to those low temperatures, you open up channels to different answers. I don't know how that works exactly, but they seem to get like a almost infinite number of channels open, doing calculations independently at the same time.
Right, which is the just below or just above absolute zero is where they say
Yeah,
that they keep the qubits stored.
yeah. Could be a bunch of bullshit too. They could just say, "Oh, we put in this question and we got out this answer that would have taken 600 years, but we got it in 3 weeks or whatever." Could be bullshit.
Yeah, because I've never seen the interface.
No, I don't know what the equations they put in were. I have no idea. They just tell us
No,
this stuff, right?
right, and that's why when people were saying, especially when they were coming out with Chat GPT and that shit, and people were going, "Oh, I had this done with AI, and I had this picture done with AI." No, you didn't. You had it done with machine language.
Mhm.
There's a difference. That's just algorithm from the entire world that worked for you through a processor.
It's a compiler, really. It just compiles things for you. It's
Right. True AI or general AI or sentient AI, if they've got it, they damn sure haven't let us know that it's available to them.
Yeah, the chats are just like parrots. They're trained parrots. It's it's not using intelligence. It's just mimicking and following the flow of your conversation with the algorithm. So,
but they presented it in such a way that people were in awe and amazed, and they still are.
mm-hmm.
It's
a really cool tool, but it's not an artificial intelligence per se.
No, it's still machine learning.
Yeah.
And
the only way really for a machine to gain like true artificial intelligence would be for it to have a body outside of the machine. Otherwise, it's just taking input.
That's kind of what I come to the conclusion of on humans. Our interaction here is very unusual when you start looking at other dimensions and how you would exist in closer. I'm talking even closer dimensions. Like fourth, fifth, and even the second dimension.
Yeah. I do believe in dimensions. I do believe in dimensions, but I don't believe they're anywhere different than here. They're just different vibratory states, in my opinion.
Right, and that's what I was looking at is how you would exist in those dimensions. The third dimension, it seems to be, you've got your three-dimensional perspective.
Yeah,
and that's where I started, and I thought, okay. And I looked at a tesseract. And I started thinking about the fourth dimension. And then I started thinking of how would I exist and what would my consciousness be like in a fourth dimensional environment. And I started really thinking on how my everything would have to change. You wouldn't interact in the same way that you do here. You couldn't just reach out and grab a cup and pick it up because you would be seeing all angles of that cup at once. And at what vantage point would you exist in if you were in a physical form to be able to interact with that? And then take it to even a higher dimension above that. I don't think the human form is capable of proper movement and interaction.
No, I don't think so either. I think we'd be spirit at that point. I think past this dimension, we're spirit. And really, what I was saying, where we were talking about coming outside the computer, for me, that supports the fact that I'm really alive, because in order for independent thought and a soul, I think we have to be outside of a computer system. But what was I going to say? I forgot.
Well, we had went from.
Oh yeah, the rainbow. The rainbow is
okay.
a fucking awesome thing. You know, if you look at the rainbow, you can see. Okay, the arch. There's actually a double. All rainbows are double rainbows, whether you see it or not. But there's a certain amount of space between the two rainbows, and that's where the red meets. So the lower dimensions are actually represented by the rainbow between those two spaces. And this kind of matches a lot of the writings they tell you too. So it seems like there's about three amounts of space, say, between the two reds. But outside that, the ultraviolet goes about 20 times bigger to the center of the rainbow, right, where the radius would meet. So we're working with the radiuses of it,
right,
and using the middle of the rainbow and the two rainbows as a representation of our world. Like the colored part of the rainbow is where we exist, and then you've got the spaces in between, which would be the lower dimensions under the infrared, and then you've got the higher dimensions outside of the ultraviolet on the outside of the rainbow, of the double rainbow. So if you look at the proportions of that, I think that's where a lot of the actual writings come up with the levels of heaven, because at the center, I think that's once you reach the middle of the radius, which doesn't have any color for us, there's no color, but that could be the number of levels of dimensions above us.
That's a possibility. It is a possibility. I know it fits the color rate. The range there fits with plasma, because I know we go from infrared to a violet type hue in a scale on plasma. So it would make sense there if I know a lot of people are really taking the plasma approach to, well, even if, our plane of existence now. So there's certain channels that are dedicated to the plasma events and plasma technology, and the size ratio and how our environment is going to change according to the sun and plasma discharges. And these guys really, they get deep into. I haven't studied that much I know the spectrum that they're using, but I haven't went near as far as these guys have. But it would make sense, and especially with the transition of light, because I used to play with a little prism.
Yeah.
And I used to shoot light through the prism, and then I started using lasers, and I was putting lasers through the prism, and I was splitting. It sounds technical, but I was splitting photons.
Yeah.
In my apartment. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't let anybody know though, but yeah, I could take a faceted crystal and I could hit it at a certain angle, and I could get 4 or 5 different positions.
Yeah. We used to have a bunch of them we hung in a window, and they'd spin in the wind, and all the lights would dance on the walls, and the cats would go insane.
Is it fun or torture at that point?
I don't know. It's fun for me. I don't know what it is for them.
It's like putting duct tape on their feet. It's not cruel. It's not inhumane, but it's hella funny when a cat steps on a piece of tape.
Oh yeah, a sticky note.
Yeah, I'm like, I've had some life dilemmas, but nothing like that.
My cats have gotten themselves caught in plastic bags and done the run around the apartment at 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to get away from it.
Oh shit!
That was
Yeah.
funny.
Now you got me thinking back.
I think he was so traumatized by it. He does it to himself. He's done it a couple of times. But every time he hears, like, if you open up a plastic bag or something, depending on the size of the bag, he will run away.
Well, at least we know, it's a learned animal.
Yeah.
Better so placed in
He
line.
still goes. He
with
still
the
goes into plastic bags. The dumbass. They get
But
their
does he
head
have a
caught in the
better
handle.
ratio than humans?
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Probably.
I mean, we'll put the plastic bag over our head, knowing that it's going to distress us for amusement and enjoyment. At least the cat knows that something ain't right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Max, I've had to take a strange look at a different angle on some things just because of connections that I made, and especially with cycles, and whether they're introducing new technology or they're getting ready to zap us with a new frequency. There is an energy.
CERN itself has has a stronger magnetic field than the Earth. So
Yeah, they went up to.
Going to mess with the magnetics, that's for sure.
What was it? 13 TeV, and they shook the Earth.
Yeah, it's now they're just going to put more power in there. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Right? They almost blew the damn it. When they had it up to 13 TeV, they backed it down because it rattled and shook the Earth, and something about the atmosphere.
Holy shit!
I
didn't hear that.
Yeah, it had an effect on the atmosphere. And I'm thinking, if they shook the fucking Earth at 13 TeV, and they were talking about going higher back then, and this was back in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
They've
done upgrades. They've done upgrades since then too.
Yeah. Apparently they strengthened. They strengthened the tubing that they put the particles through, and then they upgraded each of the stations, or the research stations. But see, I'm not even sure that the diagram and the map that they're laying out is exactly. Would you really want the world to know exactly what position that they could Google Earth and get your core?
Right?
I don't think so. That would be, and especially if somebody wanted to hold something for real hostage that could put the world on hold for a second, is if they had the geo coordination to launch something into one of those research facilities. Not only the generation of electricity and power that they retain there, but to know that they could use a bunker buster or something to crack, even if they cracked and punctured what they've got going on down there, would cause enough damage that, Jesus Christ. They blamed one on what? A squirrel, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's apparently a lot of animals try to get in there.
A damn lot of them.
Yeah. They have problems with rats and raccoons and all kinds of critters.
What is your take on the...
They had to put up sound barriers for them and other electronic things to stop them.
Is that how they said they finally stopped? Yeah. See, I'm not sure that...
Yeah, they used electronic warfare on them.
When they claimed that the entire accelerator was shut down because of a squirrel had either chewed through some wires. I forget what their main excuse was, but it boiled down whether the squirrel crossed wires, chewed through wires, whatever happened that they say
Sacrifice
happened.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, no, I'm not gonna. That's not even reasonable to buy, because they're going to take defensive positions against something that like that, especially when you're dealing with earth-shaking energy. And then they started blaming it on animals a lot.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it happened that way, to think that a squirrel shut down a multi-billion-dollar,
yeah,
it gives you a whole.
They'll spend money on anything. They don't give a shit about money.
I think they just number a price to it that will make the world go, ooh, expensive. Yeah. But in actuality, all that shit's paid for by other entities and other means.
It's all fiat money at this point anyway, so they've cracked that system.
But to think that you could take an army of squirrels, if, let's say, do you take one of the other colliders, like the one-year Burma Labs?
We did a remote view, what I call a remote view dive on CERN at one point. And we asked the animals if they'd go and mess it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
The animals around there and the bugs. And then we went in and played with the equipment. Kind of changed some of the fields and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah. Had lots of fun. I think we should go in again. There's a couple people waiting to do it. Actually, they're hoping that we'll do another dive into it. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because we got Burma Labs right here next to me, and that's right here in Ellen. Well, it's across. It's about 150 miles from me.
Yeah.
And I keep an eye on Burma Labs just because when they're kicking shit off over there, I like to know.
Yeah. I did some research today into antennas for the problems we've been experiencing with them because we are being used as antennas.
Right.
Now,
which I checked into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since 1994.
Oops. Sorry?
I said since 1994.
Yeah, I heard 95, but yeah, they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, I had no idea the 90s were even involved in that. I figured at least it was 2000 or so, but no, they were talking. 94 was whenever they started using the basic technique of the energy for
the wide body area network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you the body in that network.
Right, and then they started assigning addresses, and not only that, but they had open source relay. Basically, we were just a carrier.
Yeah.
Transmitter receiver carrier.
Yeah, cyber security.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we're one of the most secure things on there. You checked out that lady Pinsergy that I recommended? She's posting all kinds of white papers for people to read, and they allude to it in one paper. They actually out and out say it, that they are using you for nodes. It was in the HEH. Which one was it? The HEH BMAC. The HEH BMAC hybrid polling MAC protocol for W bands operated by human energy harvesting.
Right.
Yeah. That was a good one. There they tell you about they give you some hints as to what it does to the body, that they have to limit what they do so that the body can recoup, things like that. It's it's horrible.
Well, I was completely blown away whenever they were talking that they had been using this back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I was doing was taking those small little USB dongles, and I was putting them inside of Dish Network satellites, and I was adjusting the SSID, and I was able to pull internet, directly out of the delivery. I didn't have my,
just out of the quote unquote ether, but not really. Pulling it out of other people's bodies.
Well, yeah, I was.
You were pulling bodies. That's what you were doing.
I was using a Dish Network, and I didn't. Hey, I didn't do anything illegal.
No,
it was all.
You wouldn't know at the time. I wouldn't know. I didn't know until recently they were doing this. Like, I knew the effects of what was happening, and I understood the source, but I didn't know how deep they'd gone into using it. Like, it's to the point now with some of these documents and some of the technologies that are already available, they could turn you into a bloody fish if they wanted to, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But I was looking up antennas today. This is where I was going with that. And all antennas pretty much are grounded. So, okay. So I'm using grounding as a way to deal with the effects of what's going on. I was looking for a way to stop being used as an antenna, but I don't know if that's entirely possible at this point. But what it seems to do is with antennas, it stops them from being overcharged. If there's high atmospheric electricity, such as lightning and that, it protects it. So in the same way, it's probably doing the same thing in us. So even though we are probably still being used as a MAC address, the overload of the system that they talk about in some of the papers is what we're avoiding with that, I think. So
I do know that
working better.
I believe I was on with a few people. I kind of go to their panel. He's kind of a younger guy, but he's at least open-minded enough to understand that we're being hit with frequencies and being used as transmitters and receivers.
Yeah.
And he ran across an article today that he finally found out, hey, these motherfuckers are taking health range observations of how much juice they're putting through it.
Oh yeah.
And he got a little bent over that, and I was like, well, there's really, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't.
Well, we should get bent over it, is what we should be doing. That's what I am. I'm fucking bent over it. Pisses me off every day.
Well, I don't want to be used.
Day. Yeah. Well, think of the health effects, right? It's affecting people's health. They know it. They know it is. They admit it in their papers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's what come up today was, they were actually having to take, they were having to sign different,
for our safety, right? Tools
different, laws and regulations on what volume they could use. It was insane.
Yeah. It is insane.
They were, and I was like, wow, man, that's pretty intense. And
one of my viewers put me onto this, one of my subscribers, and like that was like just a couple weeks ago or so. Man, I had no idea what they were doing to us. No idea.
No, and I didn't until you turned me on to it. That I knew we were battling frequencies, and I know I was picking a lot of shit up and was being able to shut a lot of shit down, neutralize it, fuck with things, and especially humans and animals. That was just free game and sport. But whenever I saw the full range that they had taken it to,
Yeah.
and realized that they had got a hold of my ass back in the day and got their money back on me plenty times over.
Well, they've been mapping and tracking our brainwaves since the 70s.
Which I believe that. I believe that true.
Yep.
Yeah.
They started in the 70s with that through the wiring in your house. That's why it's on 60 hertz.
Yeah, imagery. They're able to do. They're able to image the inside of a house with using some about using the 60 cycle resonance from the copper wire.
Yep.
And they can build an image. They can do it with your router.
Yeah, your TV.
Yes.
Almost any device. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're surveilling. Like, this is all military. It all comes out of military, and they just decided they're going to turn all these military things on us because they've been doing it since the induction of radar, right? So, introduction of radar. So why not continue, right?
Well, yeah, fuck, man. I mean, they were already dealing with radar and X-rays, and we might as well go ahead and use some radiation, and shit. Let's just amp it up and see what we can do here. Few projects
that for national defense. You don't. It's a need to know basis. It's for your good, comrade. Shut up.
That's how they've been delivering it, man. And
yep.
Like I said, I was blown away whenever I started digging into it.
Yeah.
But then, Max, if and I hate to go back to it, man, but what they're talking about doing with delivering us over to the Internet of Things, and how they're utilizing us now, and you look at the past and the cataclysms, the resets, the implanted memories, the lied about history, the whole thing, almost it's too much like a computer thinking, and that's what bothers me about it. That's not God think, that's computer think.
Well, maybe.
Unless God is just an absolute amazing, architectural engineer to be able to pull and breathe life into something, then you have to deal with creation and the fact that you are created, and what are your limitations there? If there's a God state, an omnipresent, omnipotent creator of things, that's when you think about that, and it breathed through vibration and frequency everything into existence, according to the text. And
they claim it was by will of thought. So
right, and
the first thought was desire for another.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's in the Vedas.
Really, I've done a lot in the Vedas. A lot of the Rig Vedas, the Vedas, just getting information. But that was more information on how quantum physics was relative to what they were actually studying and applying in India before the cataclysm to what we were doing today. And you can close a lot of the holes up. Is Lapis is in here?
Yeah.
Oh. she's been taking awesome pictures of the moon, man.
Oh, nice. I love looking at the moon.
Beautiful pictures.
There is no
Yeah.
expansion at the moment. Yeah, the expansion of the universe, that's up for debate too, because they base that on their redshift theory, which they know is wrong. They've admitted it. So whether the universe is expanding or not is pretty much up for question at this point.
Oh, I'm glad Lapis got that's cool. Yeah,
They based
I
a
don't.
lot of their stuff on that, on the redshift. So a lot of their theories kind of fall apart because the redshift isn't necessarily what they claim it is. The redshift theory on speed and travel of light.
Right. That's there's one channel, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, man, and he does a lot of plasma research, and according to him and his understanding of plasma research and how it affected us as, you know, or three-dimensional life in this plane here, was under a different spectrum. He gigantic. Everything was gigantic, big, huge, because of the plasma field that was generated under a different color spectrum, and because it was under a different color spectrum, that he calls it gigantism or something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah. He starts showing fossils and
No, I meant within.
different things that seem disproportionate in size, but you know, a lot of it's petrified. And he's under the full belief that we're getting, because the sun is turning white again, that we're getting ready to go through a complete, basically letting the pressure off the Earth through a toroidal field and a plasma ejection.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Maybe a little nova.
That's what, it's kind of what he's talking about. And
Yeah.
then he said that that the spectrum, the light spectrum, would change after that, and things would start developing in a much larger size. And because of the red spectrum that we're under, and the pressure that's built up behind, he won't use the word firmament, but he calls it, you know, a plasma field. And, you know, he says because of the pressure behind that, we've reduced in stature, size, and everything has gone through a reduction over the course of time. And, I mean, to listen to the guy, if he was selling a car, I'd have probably bought one, you know? But, I just, there's too much,
Yeah, I've heard of that kind of theory before. I was thinking about it, where people believe it's kind of similar, maybe. Some people believe that there were giants on the Earth and other planets because of the amount of energy that they received. I have a different theory on that, but it's possible.
Yeah,
that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was taking smaller life forms that are present now, and he was putting them into a microscope, and he was blowing them up to size, and he was showing all the relativity between size and scale.
Yeah.
And then he started going into plant life, and how if the plant life varied, then the size of the environmental species would vary. And that's how he brought on the gigantism or something. He's got some word he uses for gigantism, I think it is.
Yeah.
And you know, the dude is totally like bought into this, and he's big into torus fields. He sees the the three-dimensional toroidal shape on. Have you ever seen the cave art with what looks like the stick man with his arms down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he can compare that graphically if you turn it three-dimensionally into a toroidal field of plasma.
Yeah, I've seen those. You can get all kinds of different shapes depending on how you adjust the field. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I'm familiar with that theory. Yeah.
So but I did as much as as I researched it as much as I felt that I needed to.
Yeah.
Without becoming a participant, and it all went back to when you're dealing with shapes, dimensions, fields, and fields of function, you're still talking numbers, and
Sure.
I can't get over this computer.
Well, whether it's numbers or not, it's happening, right?
Right.
That's
right. There's no escaping it.
So whether it is or isn't really isn't going to affect you that much. Really, it would be nice to know, but yeah, whether it's when they came up with some people have a real problem with simulation theory. Some people don't. I have no problem with it if it's a simulation. I really don't care. I'm still going to live my existence. I told that to my wife, simulation theory, and that freaked her out. She was, don't tell me stuff like that.
Yeah, people don't take well to that.
Yeah, I don't care either way, right? I'm in the simulation. Well, the simulation's got its rules, just like the universe would. So it's pretty much the same for me. But back to my idea, I don't think the consciousness can exist in a computer. Not to say that I don't know what computers will be like in the future, but you never know. But for now, with what's available to my knowledge, we would have to come out. It would have to come outside of a computer system. At least that's.
Wouldn't it kind of make sense that it? And let's just take.
We could have been brought out. What if we were brought out from a computer system?
Exactly, into a biological, artificial, intelligent, biological.
Well, it
computer
wouldn't even be artificial at that point, would it? It would be just the natural, wouldn't it?
Well, for us, yeah, but in a greater spectrum on that chain of consciousness, we would not be. We would be lower.
Creating a system that spits out life forms or something,
Exactly. Now you're thinking where I'm at with this. Is the machine created we went from a biological to a machine. The machine created a new biological, artificial intelligent computer, which would be us. We're making machines to house the consciousness, and it just becomes a repetitive cycle and vicious cycle of time that is relative. But to step beyond that and to think that, okay, if that's true, and let's say there's some validity to that.
Why does it have to be vicious?
Well, it's usually the end of a cycle that you find the viciousness throughout history. Lots of death, lots of environmental change.
I suppose
entire
species. Growth. There's always growth, though.
Yeah, a reset.
It is the unfortunate nature of things, but
it's nature. It's the constant.
See, I think at some point we will end up going back into the center of what we call the universe. I believe there's many others, but they exist beside us. But I think it's like a torus field. We'll eventually go back to the center.
Right.
So right now, I think we're in the blue shift or the negative field of the torus field, and we've been spit out from the middle already. We can see that where I don't even know what to believe about that anymore, because I've used the scientific results from academia for so long. you know, the expansion of the universe. Even is that true? You know, the great breath or the pause. You know,
Well, I tell you,
even the size of things that they claim were here in the past. Suns thousands of times bigger. I don't know.
right,
You know,
right.
I don't know.
My approach to it, whenever, especially with some of the recent breakthroughs that I've had, and they come from internal. You know, I went real deep inside and really played with things and my body, states of consciousness, and when I started taking all this in and started to understanding how it all applied in kind of a
Hey, Don.
fractal way, is Don.
Yeah. Good to see
Hey,
you,
Don.
Don.
Absolutely. Yeah. It, you know, and especially the plasma research, and knowing that when we speak, you know, there's a toroidal field that comes out, and there's also a geometric shape that is applied to that field.
Yeah.
That helps create language and the energy of language and the transference of language through energy. And to me, that fell right back to the whole computer thinking, you know, that whole computer
That's
thinking.
really caught you, eh? I don't know.
Yeah. It's because if any of that is true, and if any of it holds volition, and we are the creation of something, and we were based off of let's say a computer.
Way, whether it's natural or, you know, by the writings anyways, it says God created us. So if we were created by a computer or created by God, we're still created, eh? So,
exactly.
It's interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah.
So my thought is, you know, that kind of puts us in that puts your whole state of being into a new perspective, because
but the writings also say that God isn't everyone and everything. He is all, right? So we are the creator as well, part of, or an emanation of.
But we were not able to access the range of capability that creator, God.
Now, would the creator even have access to that at this point? Or has he given himself over to his creation?
See, I would say that he's outside of the creation.
You think he's outside of the creation? But they say God is all.
Right, and I believe that still applies. Let's take a computer, because we're relevant to a computer, and you catch on to that. Let's say you built a supercomputer. You have your own D wave. We'll call it the max wave. You have the max wave computer with the max wave chip, and this thing thinks in 10 petaflops. Okay.
Sure.
And it's capable of reasoning at, which would be 30% higher than the human mind at 10 petaflops. Okay. And you created this. This is the max creation. And it starts interacting with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're still the creator outside of the creation, though the creation is functionable and fully capable of, reaching any type of concept, any type of thought that is learned, because we can't do anything that we haven't been through the learned experience.
I still don't think that a computer can really do it, can really have independent thought on its own. I still think it's all dependent on input. I still it's got to break out.
Yeah, somehow. That's what I'm saying about us is we are limited.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where people think that we are the be all end all of existence. I don't see it that way anymore.
Yeah.
I see us as a created product from something that we can't comprehend. Obviously, we can't create human life without the start of human life. You know, we got to have the embryo, and we've got to have the genetic coding for it. Though we can manipulate it, and we can alter it, and we can even design it, but we're not capable of pulling it out of thin air. A woman can.
Now, what kind of you know? One thing that I have a hard time. Well, I always discuss. Actually, I don't say I have a hard time with it. It's fun discussion. Is like a level of consciousness. Like, if God gave of Himself to become us, is He fully conscious and aware of everything at one time as one being, or has He actually given Himself up to make multiple beings? That's you know, one way people don't really look at it.
Right, and you're right about that. And I'm going to answer this in the chat down here, because he's right. Elohim, which is used, that's the Hebrew for gods, plural, which is also used in Genesis.
In one story, yes, Yahweh's in the other.
Yeah, and then you go from that to the El.
Yeah.
So, and then there's multiples of gods that follow after that, and then Samaria. I don't even have to go there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I think those gods, many of those gods, possibly with the exception of El Elyon, but I even think he was a physical creature, a being, and not like an entity or a god form or an egregor or anything like that. I think they were actual physical beings.
Well, let's put our heads together for a second, and let's approach something without some bias here, and maybe we can make some headway. If I can get your mind for a little bit there, Mac.
You know, I got to go to bed pretty soon in 15 minutes. I got another 15 minutes.
Oh man, no, that's like waiting around for the number 42. No. Oh man. I just to make it short and sweet is
more than one creator. That's neat. Yeah.
Right.
Male and female, eh?
Possibly.
Yeah, what about a male and female creator? They do talk about the androgynous God, the male and female in one too, right?
Well, that comes straight out of Beta there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the Mahabharata.
Yeah.
Most of their you know, well, we know that Vishnu and Brahma and Shiva are all aspects.
Yeah, many creators of them.
Yeah, and those are aspects. Mm-hmm. Those aren't the root source.
Yeah,
they're interactive aspects that seem to come from somewhere, and then they interact with us in an aspect form, and they can even war with each other. But it seems that their cycle is repetitive because of being an aspect. It's almost like you can't kill them off.
Well, it could be a representation of astrotheology as well.
Yeah, very good possibility.
A lot of the Bible is astrotheology. I don't know about the Vedas. I don't know if anybody's analyzed it that way.
Like I said, it was technology, man. That's exactly what I went in there for, is to find similarities, especially when I was studying quantum physics, is because that was applied and definitely suggested in a lot of the Veda teachings.
Yeah. Well, the machinery of the universe. Did you know that all galaxies rotate at the same speed?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They're all in sync. All of them.
That makes sense.
Isn't that
because size is controlled by relativity of the laws of the constant. That's why we don't have planets the size of galaxies.
Well, they're all affected by each other's magnetic fields, so they work like cogs. Because each ring magnet has 12 magnetic fields. That's why we have the 12 zodiacs. and they work together like cogs in a wheel.
Some of us have 13 zodiacs. But no, you're
That's
right.
one of the deacons of Scorpio, Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus, yeah, the 13th month, because I do a
the Hebrews used to have a 13-month calendar.
Yeah, I do a lunar year.
Yeah.
I don't.
But the zodiac should be divided into 12 because a ring magnet. It's a magnet. It's working on magnetic forces. Ring magnet divides into 12 fields, 6 positive and 6 negative.
Right. And
that's why I don't believe in the 13th sign. But it's one of the deacons of Scorpio. So it's your deacon. I have a deacon in Virgo too. I think I'm the first deacon, or I can't remember. People don't remember deacons either. They completely forgot about that.
No, and aspects of the unseen equation, kind of like you had the 12 disciples, and no one counts 13 for the Christ.
Yeah, the center.
But yeah,
that's the center point.
Exactly, the axis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, I look at the logic of the moon, because I consider the heavens and all the luminaries to be a clock. Not a clock as in the traditional clock on the wall, but it's showing cycles.
Oh, yeah.
And it keeps track of all the cycles, long, short, the whole 9 yards. It's all written right there.
They're all linked together in a fantastical dance. None of them operate independently.
Exactly.
And it's not based, gravity, that mythical force of gravity is not based on their size. Their attraction and repulsion is based on their electrical charges, So
see, some of the technology that they're using and that they're using us for, I think was a shared pre-cataclysm shared technology that was utilized by everybody, not the few. I think everybody was able to kind of tap into that.
And we have 12 cranial nerves, just answering fools and tools there. We have 12 major cranial nerves. So we're a mirror of the zodiac. All mirrors.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've got your pineal in the middle.
Your little bean.
Yep.
Yeah, the Sumerians, weren't they credited? They were credited with the base 60.
Yeah. Yep. That was a good system.
Yeah.
We still use it in the clocks, but kind of.
But I found that the luminaries, man, if I follow them and I keep track of the cycles, especially the moon, and the monthly cycles of each house, I generally can pretty much know exactly what what kind of energy I'm going to be dealing with inside of myself, me contending with.
Yeah, you can follow that through the zodiac. There's a 28-day cycle that follows the pineal cycle. The moon regulates the pineal.
Yeah.
And you follow a 14-day cycle going down, descending the body, and a 14-day cycle coming up, and then there's a 2 1/4 day. They call it 3 days on the cross, where the fluid that's risen up, that you've saved, that rests in the optic thalamus, or the cave of Brahma, or where Abraham went on a cave, or Jesus went across, or Odin on the tree, and then it goes to your pineal, and you get a release of
the Kundalini rising.
Yeah, you get a release of DMT, you get melatonin, you get all the crystals. There are crystals released into your pineal that are piezoelectric, piezochromatic, and those light up basically. So those are the lights in your third eye.
See, I think they took technology from the past and just kind of re-engineered it to their advantage instead of it being a utilized resource that's shared and doesn't need a General Electric type distribution. I think that's what they did is and they had to hide and cover all this shit up real quick, like, and they capitalized off of that technology
13 times a year, fools and tools.
By
there's actually 13 months of it.
Yeah,
because it's regulated by the moon, not the zodiac or the year.
Yeah, they finally got my my in-home healthcare service to work with my 13th month, 27-day and odd hour existence.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had one volunteer. She stepped up and volunteered, so she's my full-time personal in-home now. So I was so happy to get that, man.
Nice.
Not gonna be fucking with my sleep and my schedule anymore. Because I'm telling you, man, it's this alignment and this eclipse,
yeah,
and whether
heard that, Don. Yeah. Sorry, I was just responding to Don.
No, that's all right. I just, I can't contribute everything to their technology because of the natural vibrations and frequencies and the effect of energies that I have from just the planetary, the lunar and the solar. And
well, they could put it to our benefit if they wanted to, but
yes,
that's not in the plan.
No. No, that's why religion, that's the biggest stigmata and the greatest danger we're facing with potential, disruption that I see is from prophecy, from the Christians. A lot of these people are taking this as a prophetic sign of revelations.
Oh yeah? I haven't seen that. Cool. That's funny.
Yeah. Apparently this is associated with this particular eclipse is associated with the crucifixion of Christ.
Oh, okay.
And so the numbers, yes. And then 40 days from April 8th, is another holy signature. Crowley had April 8th, 9th, and 10th were his new year, his holy new year, or unholy new year, however you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many things surrounding this. And the 3 days of darkness.
Yeah, it's probably just an eclipse, but if you hype it up enough,
Well, that's why I'm wondering, is I don't know.
I get we remote viewed it, and nobody got really. There was nothing ominous. It was just. Yeah, I can go back to the show, but there was nothing really. There's nothing.
It's just a system of cycles and change.
Yeah. So it depends on what they do with it. I think that's really the major factor. Like you say, they're starting up SIR, and they're going to do they're calling out the National Guard. So all the hype is entirely coming from one side.
Right. And I've got to distinguish that energy for what it is, as opposed to using the available.
Because you could be picking up on that too. The
it's what I'm. Exactly. Yeah. But I'm trying to focus it more on being able to use the energy of change that comes with this particular eclipse, because apparently each time this particular eclipse happens, there is global modification. Basically, is shifts of power,
No,
shifts.
is it prophecy or is it a script?
No, it
With
seems to be
there-
secular.
These are look at these actors. Every one of these people right now, they're all actors.
Oh, well, yeah. It's
So is it a
and I would
script,
believe that,
or is it
except that
prophecy?
I would believe that it would be a script if it wasn't dated so many thousand years back and recorded in
But
such a way.
they've been sacrificing virgins to the volcano for the crops for thousands of years.
That is true too.
They've been doing this for a long time.
What was that movie? Apocalypse or something like that.
Right? Give me your virgins.
The shaman kept it hid, and he only let the chief know that the eclipse was coming, so that they could retain power over their nation. And they just started slaughtering and killing.
Yep. You know, they've been doing this for a long time. That's why you got to look at it as possibly just an act.
Which means that not only would they be highly advanced in geometry and mathematics, now they're also
that's all been mapped out for them over the centuries.
Houses and modes that they would be working on to base the script that we're following, which even applies further to it seems like a program. You know what I'm saying?
Down in well, it could be a script or it could be a program. You can look at it either way, right? But in South America, there were like little huts. They used to sit these priests in, and they would just scroll out what the stars and planets were going to do on and on and on in an endless attempt to foresee the future.
Well, there had to be a reason that the Catholic Church deemed it heresy at one time.
So they wanted to know when major events were going to happen.
Right.
And they mapped that out for thousands of years. So you know, you could say they use these energies. That's possible. You could say they just use the event, you know. I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to get a better grasp on is what part of the program, you know, what part of the program are we? If we were created, for what purpose were we created? Was it one of you know, self-serving type creation? Was it one out of necessity? Was it artistic and just generalized creation for the fact that artistically creating? You know, there's what purpose do we really serve to a God that is capable of manifesting creation just by speaking, you know, bringing into existence vibrations and frequencies and energies?
See, well, for me, I think of God as in us and part of us. So I am God experiencing life.
Right, which still kind of you don't see that puts you in kind of a program type user interface.
No, I wouldn't want the program to be pre-written. And if all I can do is input stuff into a program, I've already had those thoughts. So why would I want to have them again?
Exactly, which is basically any prophetic thinking, such as the Bible delivers. You're predestined, and it already gives you the end of the story.
Maybe.
If you're a Christian. Well, it's right there in the book, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If you're a Christian, it tells you how the story ends. You know, so you're living just for the glorification of a deity and being subservient.
Which is yourself.
But Christians would.
Well, I'm not a Christian. We've taken the inward path, right?
Right.
The Christians are taught the outward path.
Right. Right, but there's still a factor that they play in the scheme of things.
Hmm.
You know, they're guided by a heavily backed script. You know, when you look at
Well, yeah, it's heavily propagandized, and funded.
Yeah, and supported by millions.
Yeah, well, the Romans, took control of that back 2,000 years ago and molded it and
Right.
manipulated it into what they wanted. So like
Right.
we're back again to they've been doing this for a long time.
Exactly, and that's where I think whenever they went on the Inquisitions and stuff, even you go back to the Templars and the start of the Roman Catholic Church, they were gathering information from every culture.
Oh,
and
the Vatican
whatever
Library is immense, and we have no idea even what's down there.
No,
There's text down there with scientific data that would just free the entire planet, but they're never going to release it. Maybe
No, they have too much control.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
And when they wrote that script out, and people bought into
Fools
it.
and tools know the Bible descended from heaven on the wings of an angel sometime in the year 1600, and that's you have to believe absolutely every word, jot and tittle of it, eh?
Right, and you can't change it.
Nope, can't change it except for the times we changed it. Or you'll be cursed forever.
Right. That's the ultimate, besides blaspheming the Holy Spirit.
A book that you couldn't even read up until the 16th century, on penalty of death.
Exactly. Now, but it's still, these people are programmed with that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's computer thinking. I'm stuck on it, Max. I can't.
I can tell.
I can't break away from the
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, but I can't tell you you're right either. I just
that's just it.
That's an unknowable, unfortunately.
It's a paradox.
Yeah.
It's an immense paradox with me because you wouldn't ever know your station within the fractal nature of existence, or even if
I have
the creator was.
I have a piece in the pie. I know I have a connection with everyone and everything, just like the creator, but not the same way.
Right.
I don't know if the creator, in the form he started, like we don't even know if the creator stayed in the same form. Like we were saying, did he just give of himself and say, you know what, I need somebody else, and poof, he split into two and became two new people? I don't know. And then four, and then on and on. There is a soul splitting theory that I've done a class on where it explains the universe and existence through that type of a concept where God splits himself.
I've heard of that.
So, I kind of like that theory, that he gave of himself to have others, even destroying himself in the process.
Right, and the we'll call it the darker version of that would be the Sophia and the Demiurge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, I gotta head to bed.
Oh man,
it's really late. Thanks for the conversation. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but we've got to get together and do a podcast behind everyone's back and release it unsuspectingly on them. And Max, it's always a pleasure talking to you, man. We get
down some good rabbit holes.
Yeah, but I feel that you can relate to some of my distresses and questions and dispositions that other people just can't get their head around, and I appreciate that.
Always keep an open mind, right?
Right, and that's one thing I've got with you that I can say is, at least you're kind of catching, if not fully, understanding the disposition I'm taking on certain things. We may not agree that.
That's why I try to give my examples to make sure that I'm getting what you're saying. So yeah,
and it's it clicks.
Thanks.
But I'll let you get off to bed. And if anybody wants up on panel, I'll drop the link for them. And Max, as usual, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad we
Same
got
here.
to.
Glad to have talked to you. We'll have
Yes,
to
and
do it again real soon.
definitely. I've been going live a lot more, so kind of keep an eye out because
Yeah.
I'd always love to have you on panel, man. Always love to have you.
All right. Well, good night, all. Much love to you all. We'll see you next time.
All right, thank you, Max. Okay, and I didn't get to. I'm trying to put the link out there for everybody. If I can do this one-handed. Didn't get to invite everybody. Friends and enemies of YouTube to the this particular show, but yeah, absolutely. Fools and Tools, much love, and Max is incredible, man. I talking to him is so amazing because we bounce off of each other so well. I'm trying to get this link down there in case somebody wants to come up. If not, we'll cut it short. But we were blessed with definitely a gift of the visit from Max. I don't know if Dom's creeping around anywhere this hour or anybody else that wants to come up. Ronnie or anybody, they're welcome to. I've got a little time to spare, and we'll free space on the timeline and the panel. If I can get this, there we go. Okay, did the link fall out there? Yeah, it did. Okay, we've got 10 observers, lurkers, potentials. Some of you I know that are really down to earth and straight up people. I want to say definitely Fools and Tools, Don, Lapis, Max. I mean, great company, great minds. Really appreciate all the input in the chat. Tried to catch some of the shows today that it was Fools and Tools and Don was on Alki out. I can't hardly say it, but Alchemost's channel today. He had a pretty extensive stream today. If somebody wants to put his link to his channel out there, they're more than welcome to do that. He covered an immense amount of ground today, but I was caught up with home health care. But if anybody's got any any observations that they've made where the alignment, the eclipse, or the comet is affecting you, or the energy of it seems to be apparent in other people being affected. I'd really love to hear about it, maybe next show. And always interested in our position as a life form, a created life form, in the scale of a fractal universe, and one that has the potential for M theory being an added aspect of our being, the multiple forms that we can approach, and resources that maybe even are available to us by aligning ourselves with these other possible selves that could be in the M theory, the multi-worlds, the many worlds theory. I'd like to get some clear-cut ground on relevancy, and definitely a much more refined perspective on the concept of being a creation. I don't think that that's really taken into consideration by people. I think it's kind of either an involuntary thought that they don't really dive deep on to study the nature and the source of. They just kind of take for granted that they exist. But whenever you really start looking at the ideal of where you stand being something that is created and taking on the aspect that you are consciousness and a higher state of being, then the whole game changes, especially when you start adding a computer model into it and computer thinking. But I appreciate everybody that showed up, and everybody that sees this in the future. I hope, potentially, this has an impact and has some relevancy. And yes, Jesus will save us, Don. That something's going to have to, because we're on a damn downright course of self-destructive behavior at the moment. Yes, thank you, everybody. It's been another wonderful show. I thank everybody for being here, and anybody that sees us in the future. Thank you. Access out.